do an oil change today. And of course, as soon as I come out here, it starts raining. And I keep an assortment of all my bikes, the drain plug gaskets on hand all the time, just so when I do an oil change, I don't do them every time. I probably, maybe every other oil change, I change this out, but I've never had an issue in the past doing it that way. So I think they say you should change them every time, but I don't bother. I do it every other. This is where it comes in handy to keep a reference manual of all your stuff, and I keep them for all my bikes. So here's the service manual for this, and this is just the the charts of when you should do it, but I'll show you what I'm specifically looking for. Here we go. Engine drain bolt, and I know I need a 17mm socket. Then when I'm done, I'm gonna tighten it down to 21 foot-pounds. And I do that with everything that gets done a lot, like the chain adjuster bolts, the front and rear axles, front caliper mounting bolts, how to adjust the chain. I need a 17. So that way I can have all the stuff I need without even crawling under the bike, and I know what I've got to have. A ratchet, and we'll grab a long extension, and then once we are done, I'll torque everything to spec. Alright, then when we're done with this, we've got to change my wife's oil. Sorry about that, guys. I didn't mean to drop you. Probably don't even need to change it. This oil actually looks pretty clean. Look at it. But oh well. I change my oil super early, guys. Probably about every 1,500 miles. I put on about 3,000 miles a year, so that way I'm changing the oil pretty much twice a season. So right before I put it away, by changing it at 1,500 mile intervals, it pretty much makes it so that I change it right before I put the bike away. Alright, we'll let that drain. We'll try to get the filter off. And I might as well grab some gloves and a new filter while I'm right here. Try to keep all my stuff right together, guys. That way it just makes it easier. And here are the washers for her bike. Look at that old jewel, huh?
Spinners, hate them.
Mm-hmm.
Ew.
Oh wow, look at those spinners up in here.
Yeah, grab them.
Wow. Look at that.
They're all my windshield things.
Maybe you have to get like the leaf blower and blow them out.
Maybe.
Huh? Of course, it's going to start raining. Alright, so let's see, my new filter. I'm going to get the old one off. Hopefully you can see it. I know it's a little bit at an angle, but there we go. Yeah, the fluid actually looks wicked clean for this. Come on. There, we'll let that drain out. While that stuff's draining out, we might as well get everything prepped up and ready to go. Get rid of this old washer. Clean this down a little bit. Yeah. So that's the old one. Usually get a couple times out of them, like I said. Throw that in the trash. Put on our new one. So that's all set. You see I have different wrenches for different bikes. This one I've marked Suzuki. And we'll prep the filter. Look how dinky that thing is. In oil, obviously, is a preference, but I run Pro Honda oil in all my stuff. We'll just pre-fill this a little bit. This bike is unusually odd that when you do an oil change on it, very rarely does it ever get oil pressure immediately. I actually have to spin the oil filter off and let it burp the oil out of it. It's a pretty much a known problem, or a known issue with this model year Kawasaki Ninja 1000. There, we'll let that purge down and we'll start tightening up everything else on the bike. And then just wipe this off a little bit, clean that main surface. Thread in the, I don't want to drop this in the bucket. I should move the bucket, but it's still got a few drips going, so I don't want to make a mess everywhere. There's that. Back to our filter again. It's down again. And I think it said, what, 21 foot-pounds? So there's 21. There we go. This is always a little scary. Yeah. 21 isn't a lot. It's just aluminum. And you can see what I do on the top of the old filter. I write how many miles the bike has on it at the time of the oil change. All right. And I know you probably can't see me putting the filter on just because I'm at a real bad angle, but it's going on. Alright, now I just gotta find a storm drain to dump this down. I got about 3.5 quarts in it now, and this is the stressful part because rarely does it ever have oil pressure right from the get-go after an oil change. You usually got to burp the filter, and I'll show you how we do that here in a minute. This is the light you're looking for right here. We'll try just blipping the starter a little bit and then shutting it off. We can't let it run for long without oil pressure. And then what we'll do is if we can't get this light to turn off, we'll end up having to unscrew the filter and burp the oil filter a little bit. Oh, we got oil pressure. That was quick, guys. Check that out. First time, I think, ever. Watch. Here we go. Wow, that's rare. Very rarely does it ever do that. Well, that's good. Now we'll let it sit, let the oil drain down to the base of the motor so we can check the oil one last time. I don't know if you can see it, but the bike's got 17,450 miles, and that's what I'm going to write on the filter. There you go. You can see I put the mileage right on top of that so I can see it from a distance and know when it needs to be changed next. And this is what I use to write on it with. Just a paint marker, works really good. You can see how the end just comes to a point, kind of writes like a regular pencil or pen. And I tighten that filter up as tight as I can get it with my hand, and then I put a filter wrench on it and I just snug it down a little bit more just so I know it's going to make a good seal. Give her a little buzz, see how she works. Adjust the chain. Yeah, my chain is super slack. Wow, I can't get over that. I'm gonna have to do some adjusting on it. Yeah, this bike sounds wicked good. Too bad you didn't have the wind noise and stuff. There. Look at the chain, guys. It's so loose, it's actually like hitting the exhaust shield. But I guess if you're gonna have a chain, you'd rather have it loose than too tight. And here we go again, guys. So we're back to this thing. So I know for tools I need, for the rear axle nut, a 12 and an 8mm Allen for the rear axle nut, and the chain adjuster clamp bolts are 8mm Allen. So we'll grab an 8 and a 12. And that is right here. And for that, we're gonna need a 1/2 inch. Okay, go to it. See how nice that is, guys? So we'll start by loosening the 8s. That one. This bike's actually pretty easy to adjust the chain on this one. Then we put our 12 right in this clockwise to change this eccentric. There. Thing's almost out of adjustment. About time for a new chain. That's it right there, guys. And snug it up, we'll torque it, and then we'll take it for a ride, make sure we're good. There. That looks a lot better. This chain is super sensitive on this bike to adjust though. So chain adjuster clamp bolts, 47 foot-pounds. So let's see, there's 40, 5, 6, 7 right there. Is that one? And I torque everything on my bikes, guys. Actually, I torque everything pretty much, or try to. Here we go. All right, here we go. Try it again. Just wheeling it, I can hear that the tension's better. yeah, way better, guys. Hey, why? I notice a difference when it shifts of having a nice, properly adjusted chain and having new oil. So that's one down, one more to go, and then we will be ready to head out to Laconia, New Hampshire for the 100th annual bike week. And all we got left to do is change the oil in my wife's bike and make sure that her chain is properly adjusted, and we'll be in good shape.